Hey everybody, it's Xanadus. So, if you've been seeing a lot of the time lapses lately, you might have noticed that the past few have been descending into order tide quite reliably and quite early. Um, this was a trend that I was seeing even in campaigns that I haven't uploaded as well, and so I started digging through my mods. Um, I found a correlation. Around the time that I started enabling no fog of war so that we could see all the armies moving around, that's about when this trend started occurring. Uh, it's especially difficult for, say, Vlad, Manfred, and Marathi in those campaigns when the fog of war was lifted. Marathi wasn't invading Ulthuan, Vlad was getting stomped by Sturland and Averland, and Manfred wasn't expanding quite as much. I think Grimgor was also affected by it as well. So I turned the fog of war back off, and lo and behold, they all started performing like you'd sort of expect. So what do I think's going on? I think that those factions that have auto resolve bonuses, and I can pull up the data pack here. Where is it? There it is. So down here we see Clan Eshin, Greenskins, probably an old reference to Grimgor, Hellebron, Lokir, Marathi, Moors, Nagrand, Pestilence, Vampire Counts, and Vlad. Those auto resolve bonuses, I have to believe, either go away once the fog of war is lifted or are lessened once the fog of war is lifted. And I'm going to try to demonstrate that today by going through a couple campaigns, probably only 30 turns, with we'll go 30 turns with 3 campaigns with no fog of war, and we'll go 3 campaigns with fog of war, 30 turns. And you should be able to see the difference. It should be quite drastic. And I've also done this prior to this video to sort of confirm this idea of what's going on. So yeah, we'll get right into it. Let's get started. So this is the Fog of War lifted version, and the way you can tell that is you'll see a lot more armies on the map, and you'll also see stance changes by generals down here, like around the Southlands. So that's how you will know that I have the Fog of War lifted while this is running. I also want to make sure I have the animation speeds as fast as possible, because these do take longer when you can see the AI turns. Alright, here we are at turn 31. So, some things that need to draw your attention to. Vlad has been killed off. I think he was killed off within the first 10 turns. Manfred, Eastern Sylvania is compromised. Western Sylvania has been dominated. It looks like they're being overrun by Sturland and Ostland here, and maybe Clan Ferric. Marathi over here has been relegated pretty much to the ancient city. She did pull off a confederation with Clark Harrand up here, though. But what we would typically expect is for Marathi to secure her starting province and probably begin invading Ulthuan at this point. Clan Eshin also seemed to struggle to secure its home province, and Karak Azul still stands. Grimgor had a little back and forth with the Red Fangs here, and the dwarfs did get involved, but it does look like the alliance of Grimgor plus the Bloody Hands are putting some pressure on the dwarves. So those are the biggest things I've seen in this one. So let's get started on the second one without Fog of War. Oh, we can do a quick little zoom in here on Sturland. Yeah, see, Castle Drakenhof is under siege. There's 2 Sturland armies here, an army of Ostland here. Manfred's dead here within the next, like, 2 turns. All right, so campaign 2 with no Fog of War. Some things to note. Marathi had to sign peace with Sildred Tor and then confederated them. This army just hasn't updated yet on the UI. And she hasn't stepped foot on Ulthuan, so she didn't even try to invade Ulthuan as of yet. Vlad was dead by like turn 10 or 11, and if we take a quick look at Manfred here, yeah, he's not doing so hot. He's got Tempelhof in the fort here, but Ostermark has taken Drakenhof in eastern Sylvania. On top of that, Karakazul still stands. Grimgor hasn't really expanded all that much, and Clan Eshen's been really struggling over here fighting Imrik and the Red Cloud. So, with that being said, let's move on to the third campaign. Ah, oh dang. Okay. Alright, so this doesn't happen very often. It actually happens pretty rarely. But this campaign was killed off by a rebellion, which I unfortunately can't really mitigate. But there was some really good results here for having the Fog of War lifted. If you did see, Grimgor got confederated by the Red Fang tribe. Clan Eshen was struggling with the Red Cloud and Imrik to even secure his entire province. Vlad was killed off by turn 7. I think I already talked about Manfred, but being relegated to just 5 settlements, he did push out a little bit into Ostermark, but then he was pushed back in. And then over here, Marathi pieced out with Sildred Tor and then declared war on Nagaraith, and she did take Arnheim, but she did not set foot on Ulthuan at this point. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the Fog of War back on. And to do that, all I'm going to do is disable this mod that lifts the Fog of War. And I'll even open the mod up to show you that that's really all that that mod does. So let me get back to the main menu here. Exit out. Okay, so this is the mod that I'm going to be turning off. It's the no Fog of War mod that you can just find on the workshop. And I'm pretty sure it's just a script. Yep, that runs. Yeah, see. All it does is show shroud false, which removes the Fog of War. So I'm going to disable this guy, and we're going to do 3 more campaigns, very hard difficulty, 30 turns. Wow, that end of that campaign, that really doesn't happen very often. And where is it? Fog 4, here it is. Disable that, click play, see there's the, it is missing. Hit play. Okay, so we're here done with our first campaign that has the Fog of War still on it. It's not the best example of what I'm talking about, however, there are some things to really note. Marathi had absolutely no trouble securing her home province here, killing off Sildred Tor. She then did confederate up here, Clarkarand, which immediately put her at war with Nagarond, who was looking to expand, I think. So that is a little strange. She probably got focused more up here with her war with Nagarond than trying to fight off Nagaraith and invade Ulthuan. She was also at war with Hexawaddle as well. So those wars with Nagarond and Hexawaddle probably distracted her from moving eastward. Vlad was doing quite well. He did take Averland and was taking some of Stirland as well. However, he got into an early war with the Reichland, who has a really good bonus against the Vampire Counts and auto-resolve. So that's probably why he's reduced to 1 settlement here. However, Manfred has absolutely gone bonkers. He's killed off, looks like Ostland. He's taken some of Hawkland. He's in Midland here. Ostermark is completely dead. Ostland's completely dead. Nordland's dead. Manfred really took off this campaign. And down here, Clan Eshen had no trouble killing off the Red Cloud, even confederated the Rictus clan nest, and then got into an early war with Grimgor. And Grimgor had no trouble killing off the Red Fangs and Karakazul, got into a early war with Kraza Karakthil, which is kind of why he's in the predicament he's in now. And so I think those are the only factions I really want to draw attention to. Um, so we're going to go ahead and start the second campaign that has Fog of War. Something I should also note. You can tell that there's no Fog of War because you're not seeing the stance changes down here, and you'll see a lot less army movement on the campaign. And I'll even zoom in here so you can see that everything's looks really dull and shrouded. Can't see anything. All right, so let's begin the second campaign. Okay, here we are, 30 turns into the second campaign that has Fog of War. So the first thing I want to show off is Marathi. She actually confederated the Scourge of Cain, but she did take Tiranoc, and then she confederated Sildra Tor down here. So she has made landfall on Ulthuan in this campaign, is doing pretty well. She did enter an early war with Hexawatl, though. They did take one of her cities, so that distracted her a little bit. She also went immediately to war with Averlorn and Eotine as soon as she made landfall on Ulthuan. Over here, the vampires, Vlad got into an early war with Draika, so that kind of stunted his growth a little bit, but he still has Schwarzhofen, the Moot, and a little slice of Averlin down here. And then Manfred's not doing too bad either. He's pretty much at war with Ausland right now, and Ausland punched down south a little bit here into Talabacland, and I think a little portion of Stirland there, but Manfred's reclaiming that back, no problem at all. Grimgor, he secured Karak Azul just at the end of the 30 turns here, and Clan Eshin was able to mop up the Red Cloud and is putting the hurt to Imrik pretty well here. So, with that being said, let's get moving on to the last campaign we're going to do. All right, here we are at 30 turns on the third and final campaign that I was going to show off. We'll start with Marathi. She didn't do a whole lot, but you can notice that she did start invading Ulthuan. She made landfall here at Tiranoc, got declared war on by Calador, I believe Eotine and Averlorn. She was able to take, it looks like, Calador here as well. Hexawatl was starting to backdoor her a little bit, or, I don't know. Okay, she is at war with Hexawatl, but these were held by Sildra Tor, and Hexawatl just killed them off there. Moving over to Sylvania, it looks like Vlad got into a pretty early war with Draika, and unfortunately, it looks like between Talabacland, Draika, and Stirland, they were able to kill Vlad off. However, it looks like Manfred's been doing pretty good. He also wound up in a pretty early war with Draika. Draika's just the bane of the vampire counts. So, however, despite that, it looks like Manfred was able to get up here into Ostland, a little bit into Talabacland as well, and Manfred's not doing terribly overall here. But we do see Draika does have a portion of eastern Sylvania and a lot of Ostermark here as well. Now down here with Grimgor, he was able to confederate the Bloody Spears, kill off Karak Azul, and work with the Bloody Hands to kill off Clan Vulcan down here. And then he also started pushing eastward into Clan Eshin. Clan Eshin, up to that point, had no problem taking over the Red Cloud and began war with Imrik and then got involved with that war with Grimgor. So overall, I think this is pretty definitive evidence that some of these factions, especially Marathi, the Vampires, Grimgor, Clan Eshin, those listed in that data pack file, if I can pull it up here, all these factions down here, this auto-resolve bonus is either amplified in some way or just turned on entirely by having the Fog of War on. Because when you strip this away, or strip the Fog of War away, they do so much worse. So what sort of applications does that have for like the typical player? What that says to me is if you scout factions like Marathi or the vampire counts with like lots of heroes, and you sort of can see all the battles that they're interacting with the other AI factions, that they probably won't expand as quickly, and they'll probably lose a lot more battles than you'd expect and sort of hinder their growth if you can basically watch everything that they're doing. Um, Now, as far as my future time lapses, this puts me at a crossroads because I want to be able to lift the fog of war for visual clarity so you can see all the armies moving around. It's a lot more aesthetically pleasing to watch that. But at the same time, I want to also have more authentic game balance to what you would probably typically expect when you're playing your own campaigns. So in the future, I don't know, maybe I'll do one campaign with Fog of War, one campaign without Fog of War, sort of alternate back and forth. I am leaning towards having Fog of War on because I like to see how the game is balanced, most of all, personally. But yeah, let me know what you think. Would you rather see the armies moving around and sort of balance be out the window, or would you rather have the Fog of War sort of turned on and see what can happen without any mods turned on and that sort of thing? So yeah, thanks for watching. I'm gonna wrap this one up, and yeah, just let me know what you think. Adios, everybody.